how's it going? Keep it simple. That's advice we hear quite a lot. Well, normally the advice is keep it simple, stupid, but you know, why be insulting? I think in martial arts there's a general view that as you progress in martial arts, things become more complicated and more complex. So the highest level of martial arts is being able to do a triple spinning back kick while spinning 2 swords in your hands and balancing something on your head. You know, being able to kick the eyelashes off a fly at 20 feet up in the air kind of thing. I think really this points to the fact that martial arts has become a very visual medium. Of course, we had the Kung Fu boom in the 70s and the advent of the Kung Fu movies. As that progressed, it's quite interesting to see how a lot of wire work came in. Now we've got people leaping up into trees and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of that creeps over into how martial arts are presented, particularly when people are giving demonstrations and this kind of thing. So I think what we tend to find is for any kind of display, whether that's in person or whether that's something on YouTube, people want to put out something that looks dynamic, something that catches the attention. Because of course these days attention span is like 2 seconds, you know. So you have to catch someone very quickly with a strong visual image. When it comes to practicalities and reality, however, we want to keep our work as simple and as direct as possible. Any threat needs to be neutralised as quickly as we can by whatever means are most appropriate, and we resolve the situation. There's no movie cameras to look how good we are and all the rest of it. And of course the other side that we don't see with all that gymnastic stuff, and I'm not denying these people are great gymnasts, is all the attendant injuries and other issues that kind of training can bring as well. So from the Systema perspective, we're looking to keep things very simple, very direct. How do we go about that? General martial arts people complicate things in a couple of ways. One is to complicate the technique. So if Jay could throw a martial art punch at me, you know what I mean by martial art punch? That's perfect. That's perfect. So I might go here, now I'm going to come down here and here, and this and this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to come down here. No, you have to stand still.
Oh shit.
Stand still. It only works if you stand still. So, you know, yeah, you get these quite elaborate movements potentially, and it's all very nice and it's all very good. But it's quite complex, which is why people practice these movements and forms over and over again. And of course, generally, it works if I get a martial arts punch. 2 things it doesn't take into account. One, it doesn't really take into account what I'm doing to him. So if I do, if it does work and I hit him, his body structure is going to change in some way. Second thing, it doesn't take into account if his body structure doesn't change and it doesn't work, it's going to keep on moving. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the technique might be quite simple. If we look at a Tai Chi technique, for example, you know, you go from here and you come and you punch. So now when Jay punches, okay, so it's quite a simple technique. I deflect and I hit. But the complexity now comes in the delivery system. Sometimes my personal feel is in some arts the delivery system is so complex because I have to unify everything from my big toe up, it comes spiralling up through the knee, the hip, it circles around the dantian, it comes over the top, I wind it this way, this one's yin, this one's yang, a whole range of stuff to punch someone. And then of course people get into all sorts of arguments about you didn't do it right and everything else. Now these delivery systems can be very good. I think they have limits, well everything's got limits, but the amount of time and effort it takes to develop that solo, again we're back to doing all these forms for hours and everything else, and then to work that under pressure, that's probably way beyond what most people are prepared to do today. Okay, if you've got 5 years to spend in the temple, then maybe you'll come out and you can do this stuff. Typically, when you see this kind of thing under pressure, it doesn't work so well because to an extent it's reliant on everything being perfect. I remember Vladimir saying this once about his karate. He studied a lot of karate and boxing back in the day, and he went to do a kick in the street, and his kicks were very good, but it wasn't perfect conditions. It's a little bit slippery, and so it doesn't work. You know, if this relies on everything else being absolutely perfect, then that's another level of complexity. And the thing is, if you're working with another person, pretty much anything, it's not necessarily a fight, just if you're in business or any kind of activity, another person will add all the complexity you need into any situation, because they never do what what they're supposed to, or they come in with their own ideas and all this kind of stuff. So if we're having a fight, he's got his own ideas about what's going to happen. I might have very clear in my mind, I'm going to do that. He's thinking something else, so I have to adapt to what he's doing. So how do we approach this in Systema? Well, the basic idea is my defense is to move out of the way and hit him. So it's kind of defense and attack in one thing. So rather than practice particular footwork or getting in particular stances and doing something reasonably complex, I'm just looking to move out of the way. Now I'm just going to cut this right down to basics. A basic situation is going to punch me in the face. The other thing we see in martial arts is, ready? Now you punch me in the face and I do my movement, and now it's my turn, and if he's quick he does that, and away we go. What we're looking at in Systema is, as soon as I think is going to punch me in the face, as soon as I see him thinking is going to punch me in the face, that's the point I move at. This is important because quite often people learn to react to something, just through our fast punches. I'm learning to react to that. But a reaction is normally this, right? You hear a loud noise, we'll do this. What we're looking to do is change that reaction into a response. So now, go slow please, slowish, you know, you can a little bit faster, yeah. So I don't want to wait until this point, or, you know, we can start training this kind of thing. Because it's good to learn how to take a hit and absorb anyway. So you can start working things, then you can start building this into your response. So you can start working that sort of stuff. But ideally my response is to move and build my position in such a way that I've already hit him, and I'm in a position here, of course, to follow up. So there's a whole ton of drills and exercises to do this, ranging from very simple, very soft exercises through to, you know, heavier contact work. But the upshot is, I move. Now it might be that I move the feet. It's much better if I can move everything together, because everything leaves at the same time, everything arrives at the same time. You know, that's going to help. But this is the other thing with Systema. We work with what we've got. Again, we go back to this idea, if I've trained for 10 years in the temple, then maybe I can do this. If I've been doing training for 6 months, and so, I might do this first of all. But yeah, carry on. But at least I've protected myself. It's not the best movement, but at least I've done something, and then I'm in position here to do. And the techniques, they just come out of my movement. I'm not planning here to punch him in the face. It's just that if my shoulder's up, look, the fist comes up, and then I'm in. Oh, got the arm as well. So in that sense, it's simple in that my brain isn't involved at all. So a lot of the drills we've been doing this morning, and we've been doing on the member channel as well over the past few months, is this. I'll come to you. If something comes towards you, the whole body moves out the way. Simple as that. But you don't have to wait for it. As soon as he sees that there, it's gone. So it's very simple work. The difficulty comes in letting our brain switch off, in when the brain starts activating, the tension creeps in. If I think he's going to hit me, so it comes, then you know, I get into that reaction. There's my reaction. Like, I put my hands up, my feet are planted. From a martial arts perspective, right, it might look okay because I'm here, but that's not real life. Real life is, oh shit, now I'm in position. Because in real life, in a lot of situations, I don't want to wait 2-3 seconds. I want this to be resolved, whether that means going this way or whether it means going this way. So I've just put up as well some of the work we've been doing on the member channel, and again, I know we've got this visual idea. Unless we're doing this or unless we're doing this, it's not really worth doing. But this simple left foot, right foot, hand move, foot move, hand move, shoulder move, bringing everything together. It's very simple work, but it's very useful. It's so simple that people don't want to do it. It's not complex enough. Yet when you start doing it, right, it's quite challenging.
Very challenging sometimes, yeah.
Because we can all do
coordination.
This. Yeah. But when someone's coming in like this, then you've got to work that under pressure as well. So I'll put some of that up just now, you can have a little look at. Following that, if you do have any questions, of course, just pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer. And as always, if you want access to all that member content, then click the join button below for details. Thanks for watching. See you next month.